Greetings in the love and light of the one infinite creator. I'm Andre, and joined here by Bill and Ed and Fred. And we will be continuing our February 10, 2024 Saturday meditation reading. And the topic is Seeds from the Stars and Understanding Earth's Cosmic Heritage. All right. So here we're seeing, so we're going to read it and we're going to discuss it. So, I have one. In the raw material, Ra basically said that the third density of planet Earth was seeded from the core group of beings from Mars, and then from Maldek. They came in as second density. If you look at the population of the planet today from the beginning of the 20th century to this point in time, population is mushroomed from about 1 billion people to 8 billion. If you go back 2,000 years, the population was probably 150 million. In the 150 million. These entities that are populating, and some of us are right here in the mix, are not native because most of these entities on planet Earth are not native to Earth. Probably none are in third density. In recent times, with the influx of entities, with this huge population growth, there are probably few systems from where other entities are coming into to repeat the third density. I was hoping there could be some light that could shed about some of those systems from where entities are now coming into Earth. And if populations in those systems have migrated to fourth density, others are repeating from there to here. What stories can be brought from those systems of migration that could be of benefit to humanity at this point in time? Because many of the souls from those systems are here at this point through this great transition. Bill?
Good question.
You want me to read it?
Sure.
I am Kuo, and am aware of your query, my brother. We find that the response to this query has a number of elements within it. There are indeed many entities that have come to your planet in the last few thousands of years that were not able to make the, shall we say, the harvest or the graduation of their third density after the master cycle of 75,000 years of third density was completed. They chose this planet in order to try once again to make that harvest, and that is a source of at least 13 different kinds or planetary entities that have joined planet Earth. There are also entities who have made the harvest on other third density planets and have come here to be of service to those on this planet as all attempt to make the grade or the graduation to the fourth density. These entities were called those of the doubly activated bodies by those Ra, which suggests that they have both the third and the fourth density body in activation and are able to be of greater service by aiding the entities upon this planet that are feeling such a disconnect, such separation, such difficulty. The duality activated beings see this situation as one in which there is the great opportunity to be of service. Thus, they are those who are also coming from other third density planets. Thus, we see that your plane at this time has a great multiplicity of sources of its population. And it is the great hope of the Confederation of Planets in the service of the one infinite creator that the great amount of catalyst of difficulties of anger, separation, and confusion can be worked with by all third density beings, because this is the way that growth occurs. Working with difficulties, the pain of change, the changing of the outlook, the seeing of a different path, and the discarding of the old. This is what we see now upon your planet, and are very hopeful that the catalyst of this planet and its population can be utilized in a positive sense so that all may move forward as what those Ra called a social memory complex into the fourth density of love and understanding. Is there any further query, my brother?
I guess maybe we should discuss that first, or you think we should continue and then discuss it all together?
Welcome to Party Earth.
Yeah.
All of you
Okay.
races from
Let's
everywhere
discuss
are
what they've
gonna
said
come
so
here.
far. It was a
Gonna
few
have some fun
paragraphs.
on Earth. We got all
I
the
have
catalyst you can
one
handle. Come on,
observation.
guys. Woohoo!
I'd like to clarify.
Okay.
Isn't every single mind body spirit complex that graduates to fourth density a dual activated 3 and 4 density mind body spirit complex?
No, not necessarily. I think that was more the recent kind of indigo kids onwards, like 1980s onwards. People were
Okay.
being incarnated with dual activated bodies, and before then, it was more like, well, I mean, maybe it still happened, but it seems to be more people who are very close to graduation or wanderers who get the dual activated bodies. That's my understanding, anyways.
That would make sense because, like, from what I get, it's the people that are right up to the line. You know, you've either gone over the line and you can come back again, or you're like right up there, and this is like, you know, where you must big push. This seems to be like the testing ground that, you know, you're either right up to the line, you get to jump in, or, you know, you've been there, you just want to come back and have a couple more tries before you go. Do you know what I mean?
Like trying to get a better score at Mario Kart.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Trying to beat your own best score.
I hadn't heard that wanderers were dual activated.
That's my understanding. Oh, I mean that they tend to be, anyways.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
They tend to be incarnated
There's
because they're ready for
I
it.
don't think-
Yeah.
Can I just say, I think that back when the Ra channeling happened, I don't think many people were dual activated. But I think that now, I think probably most people are.
I don't know.
Well, because the whole idea of the whole Indigo Kids thing is they didn't want to bring anyone else into Earth that wasn't going to have enough time to kind of get through the milieu before the fourth density harvest situation, right? So it's unfair bringing someone in on, you know, level 1 when it's you know, they're never going to be able to complete the game, right?
Right. They won't. Right.
So
won't
we're
be
right at
able
this
to
end. It's
complete
only
that.
us hardcore, you know, people that have been playing the multi-online player. We've bought all the add-on packs and stuff that we can actually jump in and play Earth at this level.
Here.
Right.
So the Cosmic Advisor, which is loaded with everything from the 2010s onto the present. Who are they?
Robo-Ra. Why are you calling it anything but Robo-Ra?
Robo-Ra. Fine.
Also,
Duly activated beings,
Robo-Ra
wanderers,
was a
or
better
advanced
name.
souls from higher densities who choose to incarnate in a lower density world to provide assistance. It's typically from fourth or higher densities and have voluntarily taken on a mission to serve in some narratives. They might also be soul native to the planet who have evolved to the point of nearing graduation to fourth density and have thus begun the activation of their fourth density bodies ahead of a full transition. So types of souls, wanderers and advanced native souls. They go through the same incarnation process, and they're incarnated to help with the transition. Yep.
Either that or people that have just been on Earth for this amount of time, we're supposed to have caught up by now, you know?
I guess so.
Is everybody else having audio difficulties?
No, just you.
No.
Because I'm hearing major audio difficulties.
Really? What kind? Is it an echo or?
Yeah, echo, not quite finishing the sentences or the words.
That's strange. No, I'm
Maybe
hearing
it's my
everyone crystal
connection.
clear.
That usually only happens with Ed because he's across the pond.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Here.
Hi, Amanda.
Here's the image.
I didn't see you sneak in.
I've been here for a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome. We're
Oh, that's pretty.
yeah, that's the image for the souls incarnating from all different walks of life. 13 different kinds from 13 different failed planets. They have come here in order to try again. But also lots of wanderers.
Hey. Their planet might not have failed. They just might not have just made the cut. You know, it's just right there. Just the.
Well, what I've read is that they've usually destroyed their planet, and that's why they couldn't finish.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right
Like,
that some of them
Interesting.
might have just not made the cut. You're right that that's also a possibility.
Surely, you know, they can't all have just like in the horrible tragedy. Surely some of them want to come here because it's like, yay, I can. That looks
Try
like a fun
again,
way-
yes.
Try
So
again.
some of them may have simply failed for other reasons. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, not from destroying their planet, like Maldek.
But I say, I
Might
mean, I
just
don't know
say, you
anyone
know
else,
what?
but-
Let's see what we can do to blow this one up.
yeah, unfortunately. Okay.
Seems that
I'm trying
way.
to say, like,
Yeah.
I
The
kind
Earth
of
is
feel like
not gonna blow
I kind
up.
of feel like I'm just human.
So, next question here. Yes, there's one more. We are part of a silver family, and in the silver archetype of the sub-logos that we live within is sharing entities from other sub-logoi similar to the sun, where the temple of the galactic logos is also playing out perhaps a little differently. Within the grander scheme of the creator and the evolution of creation, how is this impacting the sub-logos in its own journey and the connection it may have with the other 13 systems from where there is intermixing at this time? A Bill? Or
Oh,
I am Ku, and am aware of your query, my brother. The various sub-logi, which are the equivalent of your own sun, are those entities which are of the complete realm of 8 densities. That is, they do not move through a path of evolution, but send their love and light to the population of each planet that travels about the sun sub-logos and its path of orbit. Thus, the difficulties that are seen in certain places, such as your planet at this time, are seen by the sub-logos as that which has the child which needs more nurturing and more consideration, more love, more light. And this is the literal movement of light that gives light to those within each planet that moves about the sub-logi. Thus, this love and light may be used in any manner which those of the population of any planet may choose. It is, as we have said before, our great hope that this light and love of each sub-logi may make it possible for the entities upon this planet to move forward on their spiritual paths by experiencing the life-giving light in a practical and in a metaphysical sense, so that the growth of the body is also reflected in the growth of the mind and the spirit, and the spiritual journey may be begun.
yes. Yeah, so basically they're hoping that people will polarize service to others and do the spiritual journey. Is that right? Or I guess there's more to it.
I just one thing that I found interesting right at the beginning of that, he said about how all of the logos, kind of all of the logos at the same level of 8th density. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say that?
Yeah. I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. So like our sun is
Which
at
are-
8th density, right?
So our sun is, I think, well, in my understanding, it would be
That's
ninth,
what he
but
just.
okay.
I'm just saying what it said then. What it said on
Let's
the thing.
see. Sub
Right.
logos, yes. So yeah, it refers to us as sub logos.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it refer to the sun as?
Sub logos.
And it says the 8th density.
So, well, it considers the galaxy to be the logos.
No, I mean in the thing that you just read a minute ago.
Yes. We
Does it not? Does it not say that?
let's have a read again. Send here. We could look the
So is
equivalent
it
of your
right at the
sun.
beginning of it? I'm sorry,
Is
I
it-
can't get up full screen. Sorry.
Yeah, if you click on it, it should go full screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It's not quite as easy on my phone.
Oh, okay. They do not move through the path of evolution, but send their love and light to the population of each planet. It travels about the sun, sublogos, in its path of orbit. Seen by the sublogos as that which is the child, which needs more nurturing.
No, it was before that. It was before that. It was a bit before that.
Oh, well, there wasn't... I mean, that was a question. The question was
It mentioned eighth density, didn't it?
Did it?
Yeah, it did.
It did.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because I was going to mention the way they described it sounded similar to.
They do not. They do
what's
not have
described-
paths of evolution. Eighth density. There you go.
It seems similar to what was described in the Bible as the angels, how they're this, they're not like us in certain ways. And I
not
think
there,
some of
yeah.
the descriptions that Ra gave of like the guardians and the different entities that are out there, it seems to be like a similar description.
I can't get the screen up. Why can't I? Okay, so the first
No.
thing that where he says about the eighth densities, they have not gone through. Oh, it's gone now. It's not on your screen anymore, Andre.
Yes. Well, I'm getting the Robo-Raw to explain sublogos.
Yeah, I just wanted to see what Quo actually said, rather than
Yes.
Robo-Ra just regurgitating it.
Here. Well, this is everything he said just now.
Yeah, so he said about eighth density. The logos are like a sub-logos, as in the sun, is eighth density, right?
I'm gonna open this in a thing and see if I can find anywhere. He says densities. A realm of 8 densities.
There you go, realm of eighth densities, right?
Yes. So the various sublogoi, which are the equivalent of your sun, are those entities which are of the complete realm of 8 densities. That is,
There you
they
go.
do
So
not
8
move
densities
through
in a
a path
complete
of
realm.
evolution.
Yeah, they don't evolve. They just are. They are the step down from creator. Do you remember last week? Last week we said about how Tom of the Nine and that describes himself as like a step down from creator. Yeah? And that when you move up past seventh density, you lose yourself into creator, right? And then the further you go towards creator, the more you become one of these archetypal parts of creator, like how Tom of the Nine describes himself. And they just described our logos, as in the sun, yeah, which is governed by the Council of Nine, yeah, which is supposed to be ninth density, yeah. So then you've got the sun being eighth density, them overlooking it being ninth, and then like Tom said, the one step down from creator, right? Man, like that's a big chunk that little.
Would that be would that be like the angelic beings, or like a step down from creator? So he created the angels. So what?
No, I think like for every single galaxy, you'd have an entity like Tom of the Nine. Or for every single solar system, you'd have an entity like Tom of the Nine. Because every single solar system would be governed by a logos like our sun.
Well, that doesn't quite make sense, though, because it's my understanding that we're becoming a social memory complex, and for that to be, we wouldn't really be a singular entity. We would be more like Ra or Quo, where we're a group. So the sun isn't a group. The group...
Yes, it is.
Well,
we're all part of it. It's the main
right.
thing.
I understand
we're
that.
all part of it as an entity. We're its manifestation. It's our logos.
So to become a social memory complex, don't you have to be like fourth, fifth? I mean, higher densities.
Yeah, your fourth density, fourth, fifth, sixth. All have social memory complex.
Say, you are in your body. Your body is a social memory complex of second density cells.
True.
Yes.
You know, you are
in
a
its
social memory
its own
complex.
way, but we're drifting off of the usual interpretation here.
I don't think
Social
we
memory
are, really.
complexes are formed by a group of entities worshiping God together.
Okay, in third density, yes.
Yeah, I think we're
Yeah, but
definitely drifting
the
off.
reason
Yeah.
roll works is every
All right,
single layer works all the way down.
let's try to move on for now. Okay.
Okay.
Excuse me, Kuo, I don't mean to dominate the time, but I do have a question, and it has to do with sensation associated with chakra activation. I had a sensation like a paper butterfly or something. There was no motion attached to it, and then S mentioned the petals opening, or a feeling in the chest. Are these indicators of a heart chakra activation in this case? Bill?
I am cool, and I'm aware of your query, my sister. The activation of the various of the chakras or energy systems or centers within one's bodily complex and energy body are often experienced as a kind of movement of what would you call excitation or activation. The one experiencing this activation or energizing of any particular chakra is feeling the activation of energy moving from the sun, sublogos, through the red, ray, orange, yellow, and so forth in a manner which can be physically, emotionally, and spiritually perceived. In many cases, the perception is unique to the experiencer. In other cases, there are general descriptions or experiences which may feel like a vibration that is moving in a certain pattern or place and gives one a mental feeling of the movement of energy, the experience of movement, the experience of vibration.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you have energy moving, you feel a vibration. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whoever,
I mean, like,
has any of you guys ever activated your Kundalini? Have any of you done that?
I do it at least twice a week.
Now,
I'm not even joking.
Okay.
Honestly,
So when you do that, do you feel it from your tailbone on up?
Yeah,
Your back
I
is a
can literally
ripple?
feel like a it moving round.
Yeah.
All the swelling, like vortex moving all the way through. But the fact is that the more awareness you put onto those areas, the more you can't help but notice it because it's there. You know, you just need to open your awareness up and spend time viewing it, looking at it, feeling it. And then when you do, you feel it. I read this Manly P. Hall book the other day, and he said that the weird thing is all of the chakras only actually exist in the brain. So the vibration that moving around in the body, these energy centers moves in and out, or the movement that moves through us, the only way that we ever perceive it is in the brain. So like they were saying that you'll feel a vibration, you'll feel like a humming or whatever else. That's just how you perceive it. Yeah, the energy is flowing through you all the time. And the more awareness you put to it, the more you will perceive it. Yeah, because there are specific areas in your brain there to perceive it. You've just got to give it that awareness. And when you do, you can't help but notice that they're there. You can't help but feel the spinning. It's a weird sensation. I get it all the time. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not always necessarily pleasant. I mean, like for me, anyways, when I first had my Kundalini awakening, I felt like I was being electrocuted. Like for months.
The first time I did it, I felt like my spine was on fire. I felt like I felt cracking inside my skull. I felt like a sun opened up in my chest. Like unbelievable sensory experiences coming from the experiences. But once it's open, then it's just a case of understanding the energy and how the flow and how it moves, and then then it's the most natural thing in the world, in my opinion. I don't know.
Okay, yes, I want to ask about the significance of colors. As I sit here in your presence, Kuo and newfound friends, I have, with my eyes closed, very vivid red, blue, green, and purple. But the most dominant is a definite blue hue that recurs over and over and floats up and outward. Is there any particular significance to these colors, the blue in particular?
I am cool and I'm aware of your query, my brother. We find that there is significance to such colors that may be unique to each person, depending upon their knowledge and experience of the opening of the various chakras or energy centers within their own energy body. The blue that you have referred to is that which is usually associated with the throat, the ability to speak in clear and oftentimes inspiring communication. So the blue would signify a beginning ability to express oneself or experience oneself as having the creator moving through the throat chakra to give the feeling of clarification, of honest communication, clear communication, the crystallized nature of the throat chakra. The various other colors are also related to the chakras in a way which is of a general nature.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this person is seeing auras, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyone have any?
I think the color definition is really quite good as well. Like, you know, when you start kind of like intuitively feeling around these things, those colors are the things that work best.
His eyes are closed, though.
Hmm?
His eyes were closed, and he's talking about seeing the colors. You know, when you close your eyes. Mm-hmm. And you're okay. So I see violet and purple most of the time.
Well, that would be crown chakra.
That's what I see.
Okay, I
see red and like my eyes. I see my eyes.
Okie dokie.
I ask one more question, Kuo. When we've awakened to more of our true selves and we are doing the inner work and shadows come up and whatnot is there, I often find that we get so serious in the work that we forget to find joy and some laughter in the mix. Can you express the importance of joy and laughter along with spiritual work?
I am Kuo, and I am aware of your query, my brother. We do agree with you that joy and laughter are true guideposts along the way that can become difficult because that is the way learning occurs through a processing catalyst that creates the pain of change. And yet, when one has created the change, one is a new being moving forward on the spiritual path. However, it is sometimes quite tedious and repetitive and difficult, as you have noticed, to complete this one time after another and another. Thus, the sense of humor, the sense of proportion, of seeing the path as that which contains paradox, contains riddles, contains puzzles to make one smile, the synchronicities, the coincidences that remind one that it is not only a spiritual path of purity and purity of intention, but it is a path that one may laugh, relax, have a good time, and be full of that which you have called joy. For the laughter and the joy are also fuel for the spiritual path. If one wishes to travel in a dedicated fashion, as you have mentioned, it is possible to move forward in that way. And yet, if one adds the joy and the laughter, it speeds the path, for it opens the heart even fuller, so that more love can be given, or laughter can be had, or joy can be shared. And that's the important thing. It's the opening, the light touch opens the heart, or has the ability to.
Laughter is infectious.
Yes.
It really is.
I don't know about you guys, but I've had times when literally I've had synchronicities happen that have just made me go like, oh my God, and actually laugh because like I can't believe that's just happened. but those joyful kind of laughter with the universe, thanking it is grateful, you know, for its grateful acts and that. Also, can I just say, weirdly, laughter in a spiritual sense. You know that they when they do the Ra channelings and everything, they do all their banishing rituals and everything else. You know, to clear the area. You know how chaos magicians banish after doing the ritual? Hysterical laughter.
No.
Because
I
by
think
just
that's
laughing
cool.
unstoppably, they just laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. Essentially, you shake off with pure joy from your soul anything negative attached to you. I love that. That was a brilliant little ideology.
Yeah, I
is.
did a jog around the neighborhood, chanting "Forgive and love all." It was fun last night.
Was it fun?
Yeah, it was. It was also kind of like to shake off any negative thoughts and things like that.
Very good. Very good.
That's it. You know, everyone has to have their way of doing it. Cleansing. You get it out. Laughter's as good as one as any, right?
It is. It's the best.
That's a nice image.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, that one's really pretty. Oh.
Share it with the Twitter folks. It's always good to be of service to as many people as possible. Kuo, how can one access the spiritual qualities to heal oneself and others?
I am Kuo, and I'm aware of your query, my sister. The healing of oneself or others is that which can be accomplished by going deep within one's own mind to make contact with the greater mind, the cosmic mind, the mind of the one infinite creator, which shows each entity that in truth, each is whole and perfect and healthy, that any appearance or perception of disease or illness is that which can be cured by allowing the creator's love and light to flow through you to the one to be healed, or to stay with you if you are the one to be healed. Thus, it is not you who do the healing, but you who allows the healing energy of the one creator to move through you to heal you or another.
Yeah, this reminds me of Jesus saying, you know, that we are to have streams of living water flowing through us, and that it is not I that speak, but God speaking through me, and you know, it's the same imagery.
Right.
100%, dude. Like in the whole idea that kind of like you have to connect up to God to kind of accept the plan, right? You know how Ra talks about how kind of when you heal things, you have to kind of like get people to affect the orange ray body. Yeah, so you have to affect that template, and then the practitioner and the person, they both have to believe it, so that the orange ray accepts the template that the practitioner is putting towards them, right? So with this is kind of like one of my little kind of thought experiment things. Okay, so can you see that there?
It's kind of fuzzy, but I see it's it looks like a star drawing.
Flower.
Yeah, it's kind of
Can you see
rendering
it?
now. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a tesseract. Yeah. So that is a that's a 4-dimensional shape. Right. So that's a 4th dimension. That's a 4-dimensional cube. Okay. So with my whole idea is that, you know, the 8-pointed star, which is called the chaos sphere, you know, is essentially like, you know, it represents kind of order over chaos, or how chaos is everything, and God is ordered to it, I suppose. Anyway, the point is that the tesseract is a cube in 4th dimension, right? So we are in third dimension, right now, yeah, and we third density, sorry, and we're trying to get into fourth density, right? You know, or with fourth density consciousness, right? So that is a 2D drawing of a 4D shape, if that makes sense. So I was trying to kind of connect up the each cube, because there's 16 cubes on there, yeah. So that's 8 with, but each cube is part of 2 cubes. Like I said, it's a tesseract, so it's a constantly resolving cube shape. It's really interesting when you look at it. It's kind of really blows your mind. But the idea that I was trying to kind of get was that each direction was a different chakra. You know, have you ever heard of the 8-brained model?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that connects up with the chakras, right? So the chakras being each directionality point around the sphere, you know? So then if you assign each part of the tesseract to each chakra, and then you move the rotating spheres around, then you've got the cubes moving through each other, representing each energy that the chakras need to connect to either pull in energy through them or pull out. And what Quo just said about how the orange ray body, in order to be healed, needs to connect up to the higher self and accept that energy. That is essentially exactly what my little chaos sphere model, would have predicted. And I know this because I said this to Sarah earlier on. So
Cool.
literally, I've been drawing my little model, trying to relate all the correspondence, and Quo just confirmed one for me. So I apologise for digressing, but wow, that's mind blowing.
Too bad you can't get that on a computer model. Ooh, that'd be awfully cool.
Cool. Can you speak on ecstatic states or samadhi? What is the purpose? And purpose may not be the right word there. Is it a taste of the next level of consciousness? Is it a distortion? What is it? Bill, you're muted.
I am cool, and we are aware of your query, my sister. The experience of samadhi, which has various other names in various cultures, is the experience of union with the Creator, which has been brought about when one has removed the blockages of the lower energy centers of the red, of the orange, of the yellow, the green, the blue, the indigo, and moving them into intelligent infinity, or the experience of samadhi. This is the experience that each entity seeks within the life path at some point, whether this incarnation or another. For it is the great goal of each spiritual seeker of truth to know the Creator intimately, to become the Creator, to shine the Creator's love and light about one. And the experience of samadhi is that which has the ability to do so.
Very good. Yeah. So you gotta basically balance all your chakras and do some meditation, and you'll be in samadhi. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay, so the first time I ever did that, so I did the whole, this is after me, snaky, windy thing, right? And I shot myself out of the top of my own skull, and it was like I popped out of, and then I went up through the top of my crown chakra, and I went out into what was just boundless light and boundless energy, just boundless. It was unbelievable, and literally I was just sitting in it, in this pure, on in every direction, endless light, and all I could feel was, the only way I can describe it is just pure, just like bliss feeling. Like the ultimate incredible mixture of excitement and beautiful elation. There's not even really words for it. Just like trying to kind of picture it in my head makes me kind of smile. It's amazing.
I know.
But yeah, and it's weird. Every single time I've popped out of my head and I've gone up that way, you go to the same place, the same exact feeling, that kind of feeling of literally, I don't know, near orgasmic kind of oh God, this is wonderful. That's just my experience. So yeah.
No,
fun.
I think I had that too. Well, I told you, you know what happened. Woohoo! It was great. I think I felt like that too. It was just so peaceful and just there. Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, it reminds me of many faiths, you know, like Scientology. They want people to go clear, right? And then in NAR, which is the New Apostolic Reformation, it's a Pentecostal movement. They also want people to be clear, you know, because well, both of them, Scientology thinks people are full of demons, or thetans, and then NAR or the New Apostolic Reformation thinks everyone's full of demons, and then they're always trying to exorcise them. And like so, and then other denominations think, oh, you people have sin and they need to get rid of that sin and clear that out. And so, and in the Confederation, it's you know, you have blockages in your chakras, and you need to clear those chakras. So there is that resonance in all faiths, like it was saying. You know, it's a universal aspiration of all faiths, is to clear out, you know, whatever muck or blockages there are, so that you can, you know, as Jesus said, be a more pure channel, or as the Confederation says, as a more pure channel for the one infinite Creator.
100%, dude. And I think that like the fact that each chakra or each sephiroth or you know each energy body, whichever way you want to look at it, there's so many different ways of divining. Like I always say, like every religion tells the same story. You know, hidden away inside every religious text, there is ascension mechanics. There is the chakras, and not only is there the chakras, but there's the same exact emotional and psychological work that you have to do to activate them. You know, you have to go through the same trials to activate the same like thought patterns and the same experiences. You know, in order to essentially conquer or open that gate. You know, and when you do, it's a very very clear difference. You know, you've changed something, you've turned something on or off, or you've activated, you've flicked a switch. You know, and once that
do you think that in, say, just for instance, Catholic or Baptist or whatnot, don't you think that they hold you back from opening all your chakras because of the dogma and the fear factor that they install in everybody?
Just a thought.
Do you remember me saying the other day that I was reading a book about that Manly P. Hall wrote about chakras? Yeah? He said that every religion represents a different chakra. And in order to
but
activate,
they all work against each other.
Well, no. They seem like they do, but they're just telling the same story from a different chakra. Right? And it's only by reading them all can you really understand the lessons each one teaches. But to be fair, there's far quicker ways of doing it. So I wouldn't advise that. But you know, it's Manly P. Hall. He knows his stuff. What can I say?
Okay. All right. There is. I wonder why the states are so fleeting. I wonder if it's a matter of practice and diligence and meditation or something else.
I am Kuo, and we are aware of your query, my sister. These states of samadhi are those which are, shall we say, steps along the way of unification with the infinite creator that each self seeks to take. The path of this samadhi is a gradual path in most cases, but the complete experience of unification would be, for many, a, shall we say, energy too great to accommodate must be parceled out in a gentle fashion, shall we say, so that one is not overwhelmed by too much joy.
Oh. That makes sense. Yeah, because
Totally true.
You get fried, you know, if you get accept too much energy.
I think that ties in. That ties in really well with all the stuff they've been talking about ethno, ethno. Well, what is it? Cheminosis. You know, this idea that If you connect up to those energies when you do DMT, for example, but then if you do too much of that, you will fry those pathways because you cannot take that much light.
Right.
So that's the same exact thing there. Like if you were to just jump into that samadhi state without doing the tons and tons of meditation it takes to get there, you wouldn't have a clue what hit you. Like you wouldn't
Right.
actually understand what had happened to you. So it makes sense.
Yeah, you couldn't be under that kind of energy intake for more than however many, not long.
Well, but as you progress on the spiritual path, you become able to handle more energy,
What?
and more joy, more love, more light, for longer periods of time. Like the
So,
Confederation
the
says.
Tibetan monks. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was gonna say
Go.
go
Okay.
ahead.
Well, just at the higher densities, it is like a steady state orgasm in comparison to us.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really weird you say that. I didn't want to say it earlier, but those bits where you get right up there in the it does kind of feel orgasmic across the board. And then when you're in there for ages, because you don't really want to. Who wants to leave that? Like you don't want to, right? But then after a while, you're like, okay, so this is fun. What else is there? And it just becomes the baseline. Like, have you ever done the thing where you have you pull up higher chakras down, so you move the heart chakra down to where the root chakra is, and you move the others down, so that your violet chakra is where your heart is. Your heart. So then, instead of pulling in prana, you're pulling in pure green ray love, right? So essentially, when you get up at the density, essentially, you wouldn't be pulling in prana into third density the way we do. You'd be pulling in, like green ray chakra love as the thing that fuels us, that keeps us alive. So, yeah. I digress. I don't want to keep.
We've gotten to the end of the session, and I guess we'll start on the next session just after this. Not a query, just a statement of appreciation and thanks for this. Thank you, Kuo. I don't know if we want to bother reading this. Okay.
Yeah, Kuo thanks us.
Yes, we thank you for we feel the power of your desire to be of service to others by getting more of an open-hearted feeling, experience of your own journey in the One Creator, and we feel you're moving along a path that's quite inspiring. Yes, very nice, very nice. Feel good stuff. Lots of good feel good stuff there. So let's see where the next one is. Channeling archives, conscious channeling. So we did February. Okay, so now it's February 21. All right. Raw says, within the experiential nexus of each entity within its second density environment, and within the roots of mind, there are placed biases indicating to the watchful eye the more efficient of the two paths. Let us say, for want of a more precise adjective, that this logos has a bias towards kindness. Cool. We're wondering about this bias towards kindness, and we're wondering if it's evidenced in things like the care and cooperation that's visible in the animal kingdom, particularly in the higher animal or second density life that don't seem to be strictly a function of this Darwinian concept of survival of the fittest, and random gene mutation and so forth. Or is this kindness visible in the inherent goodness that people describe in others, or the desire that we all seem to have gifts to others? Or the way that someone will rush to save a stranger's life, etc. Are these markers or outgrowth of this bias towards kindness? What is this bias, and what is kindness generally, and what is it good for?
Cool. All right, we're parsing out kindness.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm cool, and I'm with this instrument at this time. And we are honored to greet each of you in the circle of the seeking and the love and the light of the one infinite creator. We feel so much joy and purpose within this group today, each bringing with it the trials, difficulties, the determination, and the focus to work upon the spiritual path and to share that with others. We walk with you, my friends, where this is a path that we all tread as one. As we speak as we speak to your question today, we find it is one which is very much pertinent to the life each of you lives in your third density illusion. As we make response in one way and another to various facets of your question, we would ask you to look upon those responses as potentially helpful to you. If they do feel that they may be of help, we ask you to take them and use them as you will. And if they do not have that ring of truth to you at this time, ignore them for now, and that will allow us to not give our answers in a more specific way, shall we say, so that we do not provide any difficulties on your own spiritual path. This concept of kindness that those of us folk of being related to this logos choice as a means of, shall we say, accentuating a certain quality of the creator within all about one and within oneself in a manner which opens one's heart center more fully and in more meaningful ways to various beings within the entire creation. This includes those that you have called in your animal kingdom, who move about in groups or in pairs or individually, so that there may be a relationship one to the other in some of those creatures that could be said to partake of a kindness of an opening to their feelings, their emotions, to their equivalence of the heart, so that there might be a relationship that is formed with others of their kind to pursue the purpose of their life path, that being to move to move in harmony with the creator and the creation about them in such a fashion that they are able to reflect some portion of the creator's love to each other as they go through their experiences of moving into the feeding patterns, the relating patterns, the moments and times of sleep together, sleep in a physical sense, so that they may be renewed in the body, continue pursuing their expression of their own being. I'm blocked. Okay. Their own being in a way that does reflect a kindness to each other. We see that there is also the manner in which each of these second density creatures, after moving in a manner, whether in the pack or the school or the grouping of those which you may call the herds, are able to find more and more of the ability to and desire to move further on their path in a manner that would allow the awakening in a natural sense of the spiritual quality and add it to the mind and the body that has manifested some degree of kindness each to the other. That is that which often occurs, as you are aware, in the kind of creatures that you would call your pet, that you do not need to respond to the general movement of the upward spiraling line of light, but may be invested with the kindness you call love, so that they may expand their experience within your third density illusion at some point. Thus, there is a progression of the expression of kindness through this type of interaction that is more likely to occur within the third density experience where the heart chakra has been opened in some degree. That kindness may be expressed here as well. However, the kindness of the heart chakra is that which is the point of the spiritual path within your third density illusion, in order that you too may move higher and higher into fourth density of love and understanding.
All right. You guys want to discuss that for now?
Okay. Okay. Bill, your thoughts?
It's just just a progression, you know.
Hey, look, you got an animal there, dude. Like that guy there is definitely coming back as a third density. He's gonna be a little human next time. Look at him. He has learned some lessons of love, man. 100%.
He's gonna be an Ewok.
Ewoks are definitely third density, dude. That's some of the biggest third density ever.
He goes and scratches on my leg till I pick him up. Oh, it's a female. So
Can I just say, isn't it weird that it wanted to get in on the phone call while you were talking about how second density animals all love each other and how, like, you know, the pets are all trying to become third density? That's just mad.
Yeah.
a synchronicity, maybe.
Hey, I think it knows more than it's letting on. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, so
Yeah,
so
I
anyone have
remember-
any thoughts, or
I just remember.
should I just rant on again?
That-
Like,
oh.
it-
I mean,
All you need is love.
Kuo,
Oh, I was muted. I was just remembering this one,
Kuo,
in one instance.
I was going to say, Kuo
go
really
ahead.
didn't parse kindness as well as they could have. It was really general answer there.
Yes, that was. But I think this is. So they have two kinds of sessions. They have one kind of session, which is the one we just did, where it's a public Q&A. And then they have another session, which I think is more like a tuning session, where they have the same session for a same question, and they go through every single speaker channel, like taking a stab at the same question. And yeah.
nice. So they kind of like they have they give the same input to the to all the different channels and see how the output varies.
Yeah, so we just heard it from Jim, and now the next one we're going to read is going to be from Austin.
Okay,
So
okay. So
it's basically
can I
like-
just say my thoughts on this first before we move on?
Okay.
Okay, so really, when you look at it evolutionarily, yeah, it makes sense to have friends. It does. You know, packs, herds, tribes, all these things happen.
Okay.
But it's actually really, really difficult to get animals to kind of get along. You know, like in big groups of animals, like literally, there's normally one dude that runs it across the board. You know, right now humans. Well, no. When you get to humans, there's other animals that do it. You know, cover your ears, darling. Dolphins and a few other creatures do it, where lots and lots of family groups move together and they form a tribe rather than a pack. You know. I'll be right back. Okay. So those times then, when you get actually kind of a tribe, then you've got different. That's a step up in consciousness.
Right.
You know, being a big fat herd of thousands of animals rolling along and it not having the way that it is. Yeah, but then when you actually get into kind of a dynamic, many packs moving, working together to form, you know, a tribe, and then further on a society, and then further on everything else. Those are big steps up in like levels of consciousness in an animalistic sense. You know, so what Quo's talking about there, where that you got the upward spirals of kindness, upward spirals of creator. You know, like everything wants to actually be good. Okay, so that's like that's one of the biggest things Plato ever said. Plato said across the board, all humans are born good. Yeah, we are. Right, that's what Quo's talking about. Right, inside us, we're already set at that point where we should know to be good already. In this incarnation, just to come here as this creature, as this animal, we should know not to smash stuff up. You know, we should know not to kill things. Right? But you know, the world makes us bad. And that's Plato's point. He says we're all born good. Yeah, but the world makes us bad. Right now Quo's basically saying the same thing. Yeah, in my
So
opinion.
you're basically blaming peer pressure for our behavior.
No, free will, man. We all have free will.
Well, I know that's
We
true.
all have to take responsibility ownership for what we are.
Peer pressure only works if you have free will.
Of course, but so does free will.
Right. But
Okay,
I think
service
it
to
was
self, service to other.
interesting.
Which one is peer pressure? Service to self, service to other.
Well, it depends on who's pressuring you.
Oh,
Doesn't
no
matter.
matter what, you're
Either
still
way.
being of service to the other.
Anybody can peer pressure you. I've
Okay, but
gone to.
peer pressuring to service to other is a good thing. Either way, whatever happens.
Hey, Desiree! Long time no
Love you,
see.
Des.
Hey guys, sorry, I was just in a meeting.
Hey.
Anyway,
I had
the
a
point that
stop meeting.
Plato was making was, yeah, that when we're born, just as by being human, yeah, we have an instinctual knowledge to be good. Now, you could say that this is born from us needing to build tribes and us needing to trust each other and us needing to do things to find our place inside a hierarchical situation. But you could also say that in order to be a human, you've got to, incarnate in a third density body that's already gone through the second density trials of prey and predator and all the rest of the spirals of kindness that Quo just described that led them out of second density to into what we are now, where we know we should be good. Now, don't get me wrong, doesn't mean everyone's going to do that. Lots of people are going to be dickheads. When they are, then that's yeah. That's where you were talking about the peer pressure comes in, Fred.
All right. So, let's try reading the thing from Austin now.
Yes, who else is it?
Okay. Desiree, did you want to read it? Or do you want someone else to read it? You're muted right now.
All right, we're reading this right here.
Mm-hmm.
We are Quo.
Yeah.
Okay. We are Quo, and we are now with this instrument. We trace this progression of kindness as it manifests within your experience and the forecast of where it can bring you to demonstrate the impact of the decision made by this logos, to imbue your experience with what has been called this bias. We ourselves are keenly interested in the kind of mechanisms that you inquire about within this question. For the exact ways and experiences of the logos and the sub-logos remain, in many ways, a mystery to us as well. For though we are not limited by the veiled experience of third density, that what?
Obfuscates.
Whatever.
That obfuscates.
Yeah,
Obfuscates. Yes.
Your own, whatever. Sounds wonderful. Your own perception and generates even more mystery in the attempt to grasp what other forms of consciousness and creation are like. Our own experiences are still quite distinct. Excuse me, can you blow that up?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Distinct in the consciousness of creation that lives within the various logi and sublogi are still quite foreign to us. We find this mystery somewhat thrilling as we can imagine and contemplate the effects of this consciousness of creation that expresses itself through the logos. And we appreciate this opportunity to join you in an imaginative process. And we would reiterate at this point our disclaimer with this in mind, that as we respond to this query, we may speak somewhat about those things that we can grasp. But there is much still that remains an exciting mystery to us. When you speak about this bias within this query and how it expresses itself, whether in your second density experience or as it lives in the experience of those about you, we must point out that this bias is so fundamental in the creation that you experience that almost anything that you point to that speaks of kindness, you may be able to relate back to the very fundamental choice I can't see because your name's in the way, kind of. Choice, where'd it go? A fundamental choice by your logos to bias its creations towards kindness in order to suggest to the mind-body-spirit complexes under its domain and efficiency of choice. The way that this fundamental decision is made by such a logos can be difficult to comprehend, for it exists in a sort of timelessness, but we must speak about it in a way that implies a progression. With this in mind, you can imagine that at the very beginning of creation, process that has manifested your experience about you, This choice was made, and alone, it was simply a concept, an abstraction of how this particular logos wished for the, you may say, experiment of your creation to be set up. In this sense, the logos did not necessarily choose in specific ways how this bias would express itself, but there are mechanisms in place in this process of setting up the archetypal the mind and pathways of evolution that allow the logos to choose particular factors within the evolution of the mind, body, spirit of this creation to cohere and progress. These choices can sometimes manifest in seemingly very specific ways, such as the form of the body that eventually arises to host third density consciousness and aspects of the body, such as the opposable thumbs or the reliance upon speech for communication. Though these manifestations seem quite specific, their origins are found within a very fundamental and abstract bias chosen by the logos in the so-called beginning of its creation. These fundamental choices you can see having an effect upon the creation about you at each stage of its evolution. If you imagine the logos at the center or heart of the creation, and each iteration of evolution moving concentrically outward, the bias then takes on new forms in more complex ways with each iteration of evolution. In this way, you can indeed look at the various manifestations of kindness about you and trace the progression that led to this manifestation backwards through the process of evolution to the very fundamental bias. In many ways, your biologists and scientists have done so in attempting to understand the mechanisms that influence your human behavior. From the standpoint of evolution, understood from a material perspective, we find that this bias within your scientific exploration of physicalism and materialism, though falling short of understanding the underlying nature of this bias, are still able to locate and demonstrate the effects of this bias within the physical progression of evolution from matter to biological beings to social beings to your current state of human beings. Indeed, those within what you call the field of evolutionary psychology who do their best to demonstrate how each behavior exhibits within your human experience can be traced through this material lineage, often find themselves discovering that this material lineage, sometimes referred to as genetics, though understood to be an attempt to perpetuate itself, does so through the means of cooperation, empathy, and, as those of Ra describe it, kindness. It is no coincidence that the bias described by those of Ra is alive within what your biologists have found to be the most efficient path of evolution for your biological beings. You can say that this is perhaps a matter of cart before the horse, and a debate upon which would come first in the rationalization of where this bias comes from, or whether it is a result rather than an instigating factor of this mechanism of evolution. Come on, give me a second.
Okay, yeah, it's a long one, eh? Oh, maybe we want to talk about what we've read so far. Oh.
Upload it. Oh. Okay, we may speak through.
I was just thinking maybe we want to talk about what we read so far because this has been very long.
Oh yes,
there was a lot there.
Yeah. Here, let's analyze that so far. What does anyone have to comment on this?
I called it.
Many paragraphs we read.
I think we're doing the thumb thing, and then it came up.
The thumb thing.
So it's like our DNA is imprinted, and you start from the very first conscious or being, and it's like imprinted on your DNA, and it just carries it every how many billions of years. Right now it's maybe decades. Kids are learning one technology, and then by the time 10 years go by, the babies
know how to use the technology, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I
get out of that progressively.
Well, at least in that section, we kind of got a few more words, maybe cooperation and empathy that describes describes kindness. Otherwise, Kuo is still kind of going in a roundabout not really connecting the dots, but making us assume things. Just kind of what Amanda was just assuming, right when she was talking about what she's talking about. So.
I don't know, dude. Kindness is kindness.
No, kindness
how
is.
more do you want it defined? Like,
kindness can be
a kind
parsed out.
act is a kind act.
Well, we're talking about how Ra described it, because he just described kindness as maybe a way of using opposable thumbs and communication.
No, dude.
So this is a different.
Thing is about.
This is a kind of expression that is. It's like describing what is love. You know, and the Confederation goes, well, love is so great, it's the power to create and the power to destroy.
Yeah.
So, you know, in parsing out these terms, we've got simple terms, but then we've got philosophical terms and overwhelming mysteries behind these terms.
I find personally that, like, the terms used, yeah, are like starting points. Yeah, and they're like, you look at this term, look at these things, look at these philosophies, look at these ideas, and follow that track. Yeah. Now, all the things that are implied, that are kind of brought in, yeah, they all fit into.
Well, that's the key word you just said.
Now, the things that aren't, don't. If that makes sense. The things that aren't, the things that they don't bring in, yeah, the stuff that isn't mentioned in the raw material, it's not relevant. It doesn't correlate. It doesn't connect. But if they mention something, they bring something in. Yeah, now you might not have heard of it. It might be something random in the ether. But if you do the research and you find that thing, it all connects up. All the dots always like link. So anyway, I kind of feel like kindness is kindness. And when he's talking about the thumbs thing, that was when they were talking about how we're an thumbs make you a warring creature. In general, that's what Ra said. He said that generally, just by having thumbs, yeah, we are designed to be a warring animal. Yeah, but our logos is positively polarized. It wants us to be good. It wants us to positively polarize. So even though we've got thumbs and we've got the thickest illusion ever, we've also got this incredible power of love to destroy that.
Isn't that, and that's an assumption as well.
No, that's what Ra says, dude. I'm assuming that what.
No, he just said that the logos wants people to polarize positively, whereas I understand it, they want people to just polarize either one way or another.
No. The creator across the board doesn't care one way or the other. But our logos is positively polarized, and it wants us to polarize positively. That's what Crow's talking about.
I don't see anything that says that for certain.
Well,
of course, that's mentioned loads of times. Our logos, our sun, the logos, our sun. Yeah? The sub-logos that it is,
sub-logos,
is positively polarized.
Yeah, well, it's that, the bias towards kindness is that. Yeah, go ahead, Desiree.
That's it. That's the bias towards kindness is its influence trying to make us be good, like Plato said.
But either way would still be okay. So I can get, like, it still would be accepted. So I get what he's saying. So I can understand.
Of course. The creator will accept us whatever way we go. Doesn't matter. You can be the most evil guy ever. The creator will love you.
Like, of course, you would assume if you're positive, you want to positively influence. But he's right in that you guys are both right.
Maybe we'll get some more insights from this continuation.
Maybe it looks like she's ready to fall asleep.
Desiree?
What?
Did you want to finish reading? I think there's 3 more paragraphs.
Man, it's on my
4.
screen. Okay. All right. Put me to where I need to be. Bring it up a little bit higher. Let me wet my whistle. Love you, Ed. We may speak through this instrument to one more pathway of exploration that you can imagine in order to understand how the bias has affected your evolution, and as hinted at by those of Ra, the pathway of evolution through the second density and the experiences available to those evolving through the second density environment. And that is what has been very crudely described by your people as behavior theory, and the way in which you can psychologically influence the behavior of biological beings that operate with neurological systems that you can examine and understand. If you look at the ways in which your scientific community has discovered in more recent years the most sustainable and efficient way that behavior is influenced, it is not through the negative experiences or what can sometimes be called punishment, but rather through the I can't read, more positive seeming aspects of reinforcement or reward. Though both aspects of influence behavior can have effects that can be seen, it has been discovered more and more that the pathway of influencing behavior that relies upon understanding and empathy and kindness that seeks to reward the behavior that is desired creates a more holistic change within the entity. We reference this not as a demonstration of how you as third density beings can relate to those around you and attempt to influence those around you, for that is indeed a very difficult pathway to explore, but rather in understanding the so-called science behind the mechanism. You can then look at how the creator, alive through the logos that you have experienced within your creation, has influenced behavior for the second density beings evolving through to the third density beings. You may look at the environment that those beings evolved through and how certain behaviors may have been rewarded, and how the more long-term behaviors that have perhaps manifested as cooperation and signaling signs of empathy and kindness and even self-sacrifice are supported through the mechanism of influencing behaviors and the receptiveness of your biological being to certain types of feedback, such as reward and punishment. This is an intricate exploration, and we are finding it somewhat difficult to examine more specifically those pathways through the instrument at this time. Yet we encourage any who are interested in understanding how the ideal of kindness manifests at any stage alive within your own creation, that this concept of how behavior is influenced is a rich exploration and worthy of careful examination and application to your personal and spiritual journey. We consider ourselves in this way scientists, for it is an unending source of inspiration and mastery to continue to examine the infinite variety of how the consciousness of creation that is expressed through the
Logoic.
Thank you. Manifestation of the archetypal mind, as you experience it, speaks to the love and the light of the one infinite creator and the power contained within each
Infinitesimal.
Thank you, in subtle way. There is nothing within your creation that cannot reveal the infinite creator in all of its power and glory. At this time, we leave of this instrument and transfer the content to the one known as Gary, the airflow.
Very good. So yeah, how about what do you guys think about this?
Once again, I called it.
I love him.
Okay.
Some more words describing kindness, empathy, understanding.
Yeah.
And
he was talking about behavior.
Yeah, reward versus punishment.
In like the pathways of your behavior theory.
Or like death or like survival. Like as in, like what I was saying about how, like, you know, biology, how we live as animals through the second density experience of prey-predator cycles allows us to build functional understanding of compassion at a basic level as animals, that leads to kindness being like a fundamental way that a pack behaves. You're kind to your pack member. Yeah, that leads to biological imperatives, to advantages. like Quo just said, like, you know, the whole like evolution of how a pack like progresses as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more complex and more complex and more complex, goes away from hunting and whatever else and more into being kind to one another.
Yeah.
Which would once again, like I always say, the spirals, the sacred geometric patterns, you know, the further you go up, that's how social memory complex should work, right?
One thing interesting I wanted to point out is in archaeology, one of the key indicators to determine when a civilization that they're finding, you know, whether it's fossils or you know, remnants, archaeological evidence of their existence, is whether someone had a healed, broken bone, a big bone, usually a broken arm or a broken leg. Because in second density animals,
dude, hold up. Wait a sec. This you are talking about this one thing, this one time, yeah, this like the earliest point when we know that a tribe or a pack or a group, yeah, was at the point that we can class now, yeah, as a tribe or a civilization where we could afford to let somebody heal from a broken femur, yeah, which would have taken like six, like maybe a year.
Yeah, that's what Fred is saying.
Yeah,
this is what I'm pointing to is the fact
that have needed everything for them, right?
Yes.
That's when they reckon society, like civilization, started across the board. At the point
they
when
were being more empathetic.
Yes.
but
Kindness, empathy.
Go ahead, Fred.
that's what I was trying to say is what their indication is like you were saying, any animal that injures itself in that capacity in the wild is, you know, they're doomed. So that's their indicating factor for civilization, when actual you know, where people are starting to live together in groups and care for one another and live as groups and work in cycles with nature by preparing food for the winter or whatnot, if it's in the climate for it. But I thought it was interesting that that's exactly the point when what you would be considered kindness steps in and takes a foothold in the culture of, you know, going from second to third density. That seems to be like the deciding factor.
100%. Totally agree.
And in this passages we just went through, it talks about biology and the behavior theory, and what they're really talking about, in my view, is the development of neural pathways. And so we got our neural pathways that can be developed through punishment, you know, because once or like they say, reward or reinforcement. They find that it's better, that these is a more positive effect on entity when these neural pathways are enforced or reinforced by reinforcement or reward as opposed to punishment.
100%, dude. I mean, that's how neuroscience works in general.
And that's one of the ways we can verify scientifically that a logos has a kindness bias, is that the positive reinforcement is more effective and sustainable than the negative methods. That's one of the ways that bias shows itself.
That's it. And it's a literal neural feedback in your brains and your body.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
it's actual biology.
100%, dude. Like neurofeedback is one of the most incredible things ever. Like the fact that the brain, like what is it, neuroimmunophysiology. So you can think to activate immune cells to activate change.
So, yep. So we still got Gary and Trisha, and then Jim will do the closing. So who wants to read Gary? Or I can.
I don't think I should. I'd be rubbish.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I can read it to give people a change. Here.
Do your English accent, man.
All right. Yeah. We are those known to you as the principle of Kuo, and find our hearts swirling with joy to be with each of you. With your energy fields as individuals and as harmonious group which operates as one which then merges to some degree with our own energy, that we may embark upon the journey of service together in shared mission. We find concern within this instrument for his tired state, being underslept due to overactivity in your recent period, but still find that thanks to the tuning, there is an alertness that is held that allows for an inhabitation of beingness and a detachment from or setting aside of the busy and tense mind. We would continue.
Wait a sec. Oh, wait, so I'm so really sorry to interrupt, dude. I'm really sorry, yeah. But your voice would just be brilliant. We had like panpipe music in the background. It'd be so brilliant. It's so melodic. It'd be like.
We would continue
Anyway,
our
sorry to interrupt, dude.
exploration of your question, which seeks
You're
to
amazing, man.
understand
Sorry.
an important aspect of the foundation of your own experience, that being the intentional bias which your logos, all logos, planted into the deep mind of the third density being and of the planet itself. This chosen bias is a function of this logos' free will. In other logoic systems, there are other options, including a more unbiased template, within which the workings of confusion may unfold, along with the potential for bias in the other direction. Upon your world there is that which, if noticed by the entity, points and encourages the application which, in shorthand, may be described as kindness. As we spoke previously, this is woven into many aspects of your experience, from the configuration of your bodies and your minds and the workings of the planet itself. This being a bias available in a creation of free will, the entities of your mind plane are at full liberty to ignore this inclination within their deep mind, indeed reject it altogether and choosing an opposite bias. The intention of the logos is not to predetermine the course, but from its standpoint to offer a hint, shall we say, and lend some strength, it might be said, in that direction. And for those who do catch notice of this bias and find it is that which speaks to their heart, then with such eyes it is possible to see it even in your troubled world, where kindness may at times seem few and far between. But with the right eyes, it becomes possible to see that this inclination is innate within all beings and aspects of your sphere, and available to those in particular of higher conscious awareness, that they may take advantage of this inclination in its eventual conscious development, perhaps even offering the catalyst to awaken the recognition of this bias within the other self and the other selves as well. For there is, in this configuration, a natural, shall we say, reward system, which promotes and encourages and invites a deepening of this orientation on a purely neurochemical level. This may be manifested in the balances of dopamine and serotonin and so forth, which release and become activated when engaged in the act of generosity. This may, on this level as well, be manifest in that which is presently called the mirror neurons, which help a physical being, seemingly individual and separated from other such beings, to feel what other beings feel to some degree, to relate to and understand and even inhabit in a limited measure their other self's experience without the aid of the direct telepathic sharing of energy and concept. One can, within your sphere, place oneself into the shoes of another entity, and in this affinity, or more fundamentally, in this capacity to relate to and to feel another's pain as if it were one's own, and to express sensitivity therein, one is then inclined perhaps toward the alleviation of that pain, or the finding of ways to be of support. One finds cause to celebrate and appreciate others in their awareness, whether met or unmet friend or stranger. In this awareness, that beauty may manifest through an infinite number of other self-portals into your illusions. That the contribution of an other self enhances the group self in shared fate and evolution and shared mutual enhancement and betterment. This is an orientation of consciousness which, thanks to this bias, is given somewhat of an advantage or leg up, shall we say. But such an orientation is not inevitable or default, for the other orientation, and we speak now that which is known to you as service
Whoa.
to self, sees a very different landscape and understands reality as it sees it from a very different standpoint, which does not emphasize this inclination, and indeed, where it does see this inclination, may even attempt to take advantage of it and the other self, not only in the quest for acquisition of personal power and dominance, but in the promotion of that unkind orientation and worldview, in order that kindness may be stamped out, as it is seen as a weakness and folly, and way in which one becomes vulnerable to the power-driven self. The positive polarity, on the other hand, sees the inclination and its many manifestations in that which blossoms into a bouquet of gift and service and beauty as a great strength, as that which is desirable, as that which informs the world which the positive entity wishes to build and inhabit. A world where to give is not necessarily to lose, even if it is to give something which is finite, and is not to be regained by the self, but to give is to enhance the self as well, is to, as it is known to this instrument, get that buzz of satisfaction and glow and radiance of doing something, shall we say, simply nice for another, to support, to uplift, to know that to help an other self is to help the individual self, and to help, ultimately, the group and all self. In this orientation, pursuing and enlarging this inclination, there is the ambience of desire to give that becomes reciprocal. He or she who receives gift then becomes inclined perhaps to give gift as well, whether in some form of service at present or future to the original gift giver or to the other selves, whether that is an outwardly transferred material or tangible item, or simply the sharing of the self freely, which, due to the intrinsic beauty and the glory of existence itself, is, when undertaken with less pretense, less fear, less judgment, less thought given to self-gain, that which necessarily inspires and beautifies the environment and others. In this way the gift builds upon itself, and the glory of the infinite becomes more evident and palpable and lived, as it is given space to manifest through this increasingly matching of vibration of the third density consciousness of the one great original thought. For, as we have described, the path of the positive polarity is the path of that which is. That is to say, it is the path which seeks to see and understand and become clearer, to know truth as it is, to remove the illusions and the blinders and the fantasy notions about who and what the self is, and that things can be seen as they truly are, which is in contrast to the opposite path, which seeks to enhance and intensify an illusory dream of separation, choosing not to understand or seek the greater truth, but finding the power available in the darkness and relishing and becoming consciously addicted to that. Kindness is within many, many hearts upon your world, my friends. If you can but exit your silos of concept which separates you, as you find yourselves on conflicting ends of various ideologies, to make human-to-human contact with other selves in their own environment, and to see their suffering, and to see what they do with their hearts, to see that he or she or they who have, shall we say, voted differently from you, are exercising enormous care and sacrifice in the care for their sick loved one, we again correct this instrument, a loved one, or the love with which they tend to their environment, or the positive thoughts that they hold on, and so forth. Come into contact with your other selves, my friends. Get out of your boxes, whether conceptual, physical, and in face-to-face encounter you will have mirrored countless opportunities to see how that fundamental bias planted into the third density experience by your logos is manifest. However confused, distorted, and even warlike your peoples may become, this quality survives and persists through all hardship and terror of your world. Those of your planet still somehow in general incline in this direction. Perhaps not purely, as many are under the throe of intergenerational trauma, but this quality still beats within the hearts of many and speaks to the resilience of your peoples in a hard illusion. Alright. So that was Gary's
That was a
channel.
long one, man. That was long.
Yes.
That was a long one.
Well, that's why I needed the accent.
Well, hey, look, the accent definitely helps. The panpipes would have made it even better. But like, but that kind of really went right back to the beginning, end, didn't it? That for me was like a full on, like how human consciousness has developed from like second density to where we are now, and what we've got to do. Was that the same for anybody else? But that was like a full-on thing. That showed why the logos made our brain the way it was. You know, so that in this third density incarnation, when you do something generous, when you do something that's good, when you do something that's kind, yeah, we have fucking neural pathways that fire and give us dopamine, give us what we need to feel good about ourselves when we do that good thing. We're built that way. Mm-hmm. You know, and the power structures that are built on top of that, that each singular one of us wants that. We're built to do that, but there's fourth density and there's third density power structures that take advantage of that. You know, that don't let us, you know, be that. And by being that, it makes us weak. It means they can take advantage of us. They can take our money. They can take our power. They can take our souls if they whatever. You know, hell dimension they want to dream up. Point of the matter is, that's the fourth density negative polarized, right? That's a service to self.
Well, let's see what Bill has to say.
Oh, sorry,
I liked how they gave us the term mirror neurons, and I really like how they described the path that is, because they always say that the service to others path is the path that is, but they really specified why it's called the path that is. That was really neat in this session,
Mm-hmm.
in that last reading.
Yeah, I like that part
kind
too.
of clarity very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. What I got from it was I also that resonated with me, and here in the beginning, it was saying. Basically that we have this bias, but it's kind of like a suggestion. We're not forced to do it, and some people choose not to. But those of us that do choose it, they, it is about what is and finding out who we are and who everything is. Whereas the service to self, they like to hide in shadows because they don't want other people to know what they're doing, since it's not good. You know.
Not only that, they're purposely creating illusions of separation. Mm-hmm. And you go into like this planet and what's going on in this planet, you'll find that there's the levels of illusion are incredible. You just go from one to another to the other. It goes deeper and deeper, and this is purposely done, by these STS entities to get us off the path of seeking the truth, mm-hmm. of opening mm-hmm. our hearts and finding out reality.
Yeah, I know.
That's the whole Lucifer thing, man.
I've seen, like, on Twitter, there's lots of propaganda, especially that kind of to try to breed the separation between like Russia and the West, for example, and things like that, and to try to say, oh no, Russian people are different, than they're not human, or something like that, or the Palestinians or the Israelis, or there's always there's some narrative about how one group versus another group, and it's not recognizing that they both have the divine within them, that we are all part of one human family, that we are all related, and that we can just forgive, love, and be kind to one another, let everyone have enough land to grow their own food and firewood. We can all be kind, and then everything will be great, and we can have
everything's
peace.
Always perfect, man.
Yeah. But it is like the issues arise when there's this desire for one group to dominate over another, and then that's then you get into those service to self hierarchies and justifications.
Well, what you're talking about when you are really have propaganda pitting one groups of people against another for control for these people is those are illusions being created. So those are purposeful illusions being created.
Mm-hmm.
That's already on top of illusions that are already there. For example, the Christianity illusion of the great, really, this really puts people off the path, and that is that you need a savior. The idea that Jesus is your savior. So we're talking, and that's a like a 1700-year-old illusion that would come out of Constantine, creating the Bible. He was a thug. Constantine.
Well, he was an
was
emperor.
Yeah, he was a thug. He was a criminal. He was a nasty being. And just
Apparently
the
he was
illusion.
born near Stonehenge.
What's that?
Apparently he was born near Stonehenge.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
Glastonbury. Or
And
whatever.
that's why Jesus is spoken of as a shepherd or something.
A carpenter, because
Carpenter. That's
Yeah.
right, carpenter. Yeah.
when
'cause that
when
was,
he was living in Britain, when Jesus was living in Britain, he was working as a carpenter, and he was called they called him Jesus over there, and
That's
so that's why he and then so Constantine was the emperor of the Roman Empire, which was from Britain to India, and in India they worship Krishna. And so they have Christ, and then from Jesus, they have Jesus, and then they put it together, Jesus Christ. They made it up because his actual name was Yehoshua.
Yeah, but these are illusions
Yes.
built upon illusions,
Yes.
built upon illusions, built upon illusions.
by
That's
force,
and that's the
by
path that is not.
service to self, like organizations and power structures.
Yes.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
they're illusions.
But can I
Purposeful
just say,
illusions.
hidden away inside all of those illusions, if you know what to look for, if you know what's nonsense or what to strip away, there's always been the actual truth hidden. So they could tell the people they wanted to know the truth how to read the truth. And then they'd let everybody else read the lies. Yeah, and that's the difference between exoteric and esoteric. That's what the occult is. It's the hidden bits they don't tell other people. They write it in one way, and everyone will believe it if you read it that way, and that actually makes it kind of horrible. But if you know the truth, if you know the little keys, the little bits and bits behind the curtain, every single one of those books tells the same story.
All right. So let's do the
Krishna,
here.
yeah.
We got
Joshua.
2 more sections and
Yay.
12 more minutes. We are those of Kuo and are now with this instrument. Though this instrument feels challenged in the realm of physical pain at this time, we will continue to attempt to use her as an instrument for our words. We are deeply appreciative of and for this opportunity. In this aspect of kindness, which you and we are discussing today, is one that permeates throughout all layers of what you call your existence. As it has been said, this planet and this system has a bias, your people have a bias, and that is one towards that which is known as kindness. However, this bias, as you may see it, could be also seen as an awareness. By that we mean the kindness runs at the surface of everything within this illusory experience on this planet. The lower density experiences and entities and energies on this planet also dance with this element known as kindness. You see it in the way that the plants gift higher density creatures food. You see it and feel it in the way that a gentle breeze can soothe the tired or weary soul. You hear it in the sound of crashing waves or a still night. Even the very act of sensing the warmth from the sun or life-giving moisture from the rain are all extensions of this kindness. It is with evolution and progression that one becomes aware of the kindness, becomes a participant in the bias, if you will.
Andre, dude, I'm sorry to jump in. But that's such a fundamental thing for what I believe that needs to be pointed out. Yeah, across the board. Yeah, that is one of the most shamanistic, animus statements ever. Yeah, like from the plants producing food for the higher density creatures to eat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that means every single tree that makes an apple for you is a second density entity in service of you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
making that food for you. Yeah,
There
every
it is.
single like lettuce that grows itself for you to eat is growing itself as an act of service.
And it can
Well,
be reciprocated if you're
But this is
growing
it.
the lettuce or the
Hey,
apple
look, when
tree.
I die, they're more than welcome to eat me.
Bill?
Well, Ra even said in one of the literature, in one of his things, that even the microscopic beings, microscopic stuff that's going on that kills you is service to you because
Yeah.
it's taking you out of the incarnation and onto larger life.
100%. Every single step, all the way down, from every single part of all of it, the layers are the same. The systems work from the solar system, the universe, the galaxy, all the way down to the microbes, to the atoms. Everything has consciousness. You know, every single one of those little like bacteria that at the minute we can't perceive how they could possibly understand anything. They are just as conscious as you or me. Yeah, just because we're made of 4 trillion of them, doesn't mean we're any more than them. You know, like each one of your cells, every single one of your cells is a singular living organism on its own. It's no different. It doesn't need us to live. It's a living thing in its own right. The fact that trillions of them get together and make
I won't disturb
us.
you again. Let's try to power through this.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
As has been mentioned, the third density entity has a level of participation which allows it a certain degree of awareness and the free will to walk one of 2 paths. And we understand how, if lost in the throes of separation or injustice or pain, it can be difficult to recognize or be aware of the inherent kindness that surrounds one. But as in those moments where one feels truly challenged, that practicing presence, practicing gratitude can be most potent and kindness can truly be felt. To be able to see through the clouds and feel the warmth of the sun, that life-giving force, that nourishing beam of energy requires great faith, much grace, and at times patience. And so kindness is not a feeling or an action that is limited to the way in which entity A interacts with entity B, or an entity interacts with its own environment. Kindness is also an action one can practice within oneself, for oneself. It is that loving, patient, and understanding open hand, the care of the mother for the child, the full acceptance of self, flaws and all. That is a powerful expression of kindness, and one that can inspire not only self to manifest kindness outside of self, but inspire other self to act accordingly, to engage with that kindness for self and other self. And again, this may require or request that the third density entity practice intentional moments for presence, for awareness, for gratitude, for seeing what is reality, as you call it, which is ultimately an illusion that at its core is oneness. To see the blade of grass, or the rock on the road, or the bird in the sky as self, as of equal worth, as an equal power, as an equal intentional purpose, and to then step into that radical awareness can be a step towards full realization of this action you call kindness. To strip away the boundaries and the walls which the third density entity uses to identify the other and separate, and instead see the vital force that is within every atom of this existence. That what the eyes see, the ears hear, the nose smells, the hands touch, the mouth tastes, all spring forth from the single unit of oneness, simply highly fragmented to create the conditions where one can choose and learn and practice and find out and discover what kindness is, what love is, what light is. Is that not a most beautiful gift? Is that not a most important lesson, as was spoken through the previous instrument, to take the time to spend with other self, to truly hear them, to fully see them, to put self in other self's shoes, and to recognize the ties that bind all? That is the ultimate action of kindness, the one that is far more easily accessible given the inherent bias of this environment. It is true that, to step into that kindness, though it may sometimes seem challenging or impossible, is never impossible. It simply requires faith, presence, and grace. You have all of the tools that you need to align yourself and hone that which you call kindness, and to inspire others, to inspire this planet as a whole and its inhabitants to form a singular, energetic beam of kindness. Regardless of how many walk that path, regardless of how many moments the self may find failure in the goal towards kindness, it is always there, it is always accessible, it is always available. It is inherent in the air that you breathe. You cannot escape it. For lack of better phrasing, you must simply recognize it, and once recognized, it multiplies and redounds outward into the universe. We thank this instrument and this group for this opportunity to speak about this very sweet part of reality or existence, and we are thankful that this group feels this direction towards uncovering and understanding kindness more deeply. It is an inspiration. All right. And I guess I'll just finish up here. And I'm Kuo, and I'm with this instrument once again, and we thank each of the instruments for their conscientious focus upon those words and concepts that we have shared through each. It is one of the greatest joys to be able to speak upon these qualities of a spiritual path in your third density illusion that are enhanced by something as simple and yet as intricate as kindness. As you may move upon your path today back into your normal environment, we would ask that you attempt to make an effort to shine your kindness, your love, and your light to those about you. All right, I'll finish the last two paragraphs after we finish this discussion over here. All right, so this was, as Ed was pointing out, this is kind of basically about animism and recognizing the divine within all. That is the fundamental crux of Trisha's
And it was beautiful.
Yeah, I find Trisha does have some pretty good information, even though she doesn't feel very confident about it, but she ends up having very good stuff.
Yeah, she ended really strong with the parsing of kindness right there.
Mm-hmm.
It was excellent parsing.
Yeah, dude, if you wanted a definition, man, she seriously gave it to you, right?
Yeah.
But like that can I just say, like that was really, I don't know, like from the atom to the cosmos, we are one, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're one thing. We're one facet of the creator in every like multiple billion trillion X Google plexed number of consciousness. And that right there, it was just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Fred or Amanda, do you guys have comments on it?
Desiree?
Desiree
Not really.
left.
I mean, that's a whole lot. I don't know the one that we discussed where they talked about the sublogos being 8 densities. That seemed to be the one that I liked the most. Whoever channeled that.
That was Jim. Was that Jim or was that Austin?
Jim, I think.
Yeah. That was the first one, right? Jim was the
Okay.
first one.
That seemed to be the one. Maybe just because it was the most. I understood it. I it just was understandable to me, and that's probably why they do that, because getting the same information filtered and flavored through different people gets it to resonate with other people that are a similar vibration better.
Mm-hmm.
Totally,
You know what I
man.
mean?
100%. I really enjoyed this, actually. Like, one question with multiple channels, giving the same answer from the same source. Yeah, do you remember the one where Ra was talking about how, when you're doing the ritual, when you're praying or whatever else, it doesn't always come down to the amount of people. Yeah, and sometimes it just comes down to having the right person to then channel the energy from this person to that person to that person to that person. And if you have the right people in a chain, then it's far more powerful. Right. This here
Mhm.
in the channeling sense really shows me how that works. Like, do you guys do you know what I mean? So it's the same question, but because of
Somewhat.
Yeah.
each individual channel's experience,
Yeah,
what they've been
it's a
through, who
pretty
they are.
common way that they do it if you go through the channeling archives. But yeah, I really
Okay.
have to go, so I'm gonna finish these couple paragraphs now. We know.
Finish strong.
Mhm. We know that this is what you might call a default setting for each of you who have been part of the spiritual path for a great portion of what you call time. We hope that each who hears and reads these words will take it upon themselves to plant the seeds of kindness around them in their communities, their families, wherever they travel. Let this be the lens through which you see those about you in the future. In that feature and quality of kindness within you. At this time, we shall take our leave of this group and this instrument, thanking each of you being so kind to invite our presence. We are known to you as those of Kuo. We leave you in the love and in the light, in kindness. Adonai, Adonai, my friends. Adonai Vasubaragos. All right, ending the stream.